Well, so Elizabeth, you asked us another question, and it was supposed to be the first question. What's the song that you almost skip? And for me, it's always So Long London because I can't fuck with Joe Alwyn at all. I'm like, I don't want to fuck with Joe Alwyn. I go just like some boring white dude without a job who was embarrassed to go to Chili's with you. Like, I cannot fuck with him.
Oh, So Long London is like, I just want to feel it. I just want to hurt more. So I just listen to it again.
But then she got me with that hook because I love that, like, I was going down with it. And like
that whole bridge. Yeah.
When I'm driving,
Two
I
graves,
grip
one grave.
I grip my steering wheel when I'm driving on it just because I feel it.
I just hunchback myself like I'm sinking. Like, yes, because we've also been taught as women to endure. So sure, Joe was boring, and sure, Joe was embarrassed of her, and he kept her captive in a cabin or a studio apartment in England. Like, she was a.
But I think he's a really good example in her work. Anyway, like the way that he's represented it as like a muse and sort of theme throughout some of her songs, as this like seemingly not in the same way that's like aggressively gaslighting, like I'm everything you've ever needed, but he's just this like sort of more insidious, silent sort of like toxicity where it's like someone can be so mediocre that they sort of like slowly like drag you to that level. And it doesn't always have to be passion or fiery. Sometimes it can just be like in a quiet moment of like we all have had those relationships too, where it's like there's not like a thing that's like a burning like. So you think it's healthy because like every magazine's like sometimes you just need like quiet love. Like it doesn't always have to be this like screaming. Oh, I'm reminded of another Taylor Swift
like Better Safe than Starry-Eyed.
Like that passion can be toxic sometimes. So you look for these sort of like marshmallow guys where it's like, well, then this will be safe. Like I'm giving him what he wants. This is the way society says it should be. Like it's like it doesn't have to be wrapped up in the explosive package. It could still end the same.
Well, because, and I've said this till I was blue in the face, it's never the angry incels who are going to catch you unawares because they've already punched up your entire house and they've already screamed at you in front of your mom, and like people are aware. It's those quiet sad sack ones. There's nothing more dangerous to a woman than being in a relationship with an ordinary man when you are extraordinary.
Ooh, that's so good.
Because they won't let you live. They will not let you do it. It's a true
inversion of the like she's a lady in the streets but a freak in the bed, because that's not true. We all know this. But like it is true that like what you're saying, like sometimes the like quiet, like inoffensive, non-violent, like presenting in this very beta male type of way, like end up being Harry Styles and Don't Worry Darling. Like it's, you know,
exactly.
Like that, like,
which is why I will go down in history saying that Don't Worry Darling is a fucking great movie. It's a fucking great movie, and
love that movie.
And you all hated
I
it
haven't seen it, so
you gotta see it. It's on like Hulu or something.
Girlfriend.
Oh, Hulu. Okay, I do have Hulu right now.
That's why I'll go down in history and be like, y'all missed the mark when it came to fucking Don't Worry
Save
Darling.
me room on that hill because I will die on it with you. Fucking love that movie.
It's because you all realized that your boyfriends and your husbands were fucking incels. And you were
What's funny to me is how many people love Midsummer and hate Don't Worry Darling. And I'm like, that's funny because one was directed and written by a woman.
For me, it's like, because no one wants to look at their husband and be like, all it will take is 5 podcast episodes and you will decide that I'm not worth having rights and I should not have credit cards. Because like, it's not like Chris Pine showed up to Harry Styles' basement.
This was a prequel to Handmaid's Tale in a way that like is like Twilight influenced. Twilight Zone, like
Darcie, you have to watch it.
It's so good.
I left the theater because I went by myself on opening day and I was like fist pumping. Like the other 2 women who were in the movie theater heard me taking notes, just muttering to myself, fuck yeah, this is what I'm telling bitches all the time, that this is happening. This is how easy it is for them to dehumanize us. When Taylor finally became public about dumping Joe Alwyn and women tried to flock to my message app to be like, this is so sad. He was the one. I was like, number one, if you listen to Lover, it's a toxic song. Like, it is a
Okay, there's a
toxic
reason when
song.
she made playlists about delusion.
Wait, I was like, this is what happened with fucking Joe Alwyn. She got out of his studio apartment on Cornelius Street, where he held her captive like a caged bird. And she got onto the Eras tour and she went, wait, hold on. Am I interesting? And is Joe boring? And she didn't want to text him good night after the Eras tour. And she didn't want to be like, baby, I did this and this and this. And he didn't want to show up and watch it. I go, so she dumped him because she was like, I'm sorry, is he inferior?
I mean, I truly like that. I hope that is what happened in her mind because, like, it is the truth. And, like, to have the most extravagant, like, she deserves exactly what's happening to her right now. And, like, if it took that to be like, what a fucking master, like, I'm a queen. This is like, I have worked hard my entire fucking life and given so much of myself to men, the men who try to run my career, the men who try to control my money, the men who date me, leave me, all the things. Like, I've given so much time and energy to them. But look at what the fuck, like, because she has talked about what happened to her in a way that has made so many, mostly men, really upset about, like, she only writes about breakups with her boyfriends. Why did she have to call anybody out about it? Like, okay, really? Like, look at her now. Why don't we all? If she is the blueprint, give me my clipboard and a microphone. Let me call him out.
I hate Joe Alwyn. And I would tell Joe Alwyn to his fucking face that I hate him and I know he's boring. And he'd probably, well, slander. But again, there is nothing more dangerous than to be an extraordinary woman with an untalented, boring fuck of a man. And especially when that man has decided that he should be talented and a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
And
You're going to be a frog boiling to death. You won't even realize the water's getting hotter. They will
fucking ruin your life and be a fake producer on your song so that they don't have to get a real job. Darcie, what's your skip? Because for me, it's so on London because I hate Joe.
So I think my skip honestly is I can fix him. No, really I can.
Oh,
I don't know
that
what it
makes sense.
is.
Well, I know what it is for you.
well, right.
I know.
Yes, yes. Maybe I can't.
Right. Well, because again, I am the biggest advocate of reminding women at all times that whenever we be befallen with cancer or a mental illness that will affect someone's everyday or whatever, men flee. Like they didn't have 3 kids with you and they never knew your middle name.
I'm actually like, I've seen that happen.
Yes.
In like real time.
We
It's
all know. Yes.
stunning.
They ghost in the middle, like they've had a bag packed all along. And nurses, hospitals, therapists will back this up with numbers if you want to call them and ask them. But women have been taught that men have flaws. It's our job to endure those flaws. And in fact, if we don't try to fix those flaws,
Right, you have to influence it by your goodness and purity.
right, and help him while he's down, then you didn't love him enough.
Right. And that's insane. Like, God forbid women take care of themselves first.
Love themselves.
It's not a value in our culture. It truly, that is not a thing that we or anybody that has been taught. Like, what do you say? Like, traditionally, the word mother, like, I read a statistic recently that was like the number one word associated with the word mother when asked by every age, like gender, everything, was selfless. Think about that. You give your life to another yourself? How do you take care of someone? You can't, but then it's your fault you were a bad parent or not a good spouse.
Have you ever ended up on the side of TikTok where a mom has like done something for herself, like gotten a manicure or something, and someone's gone, "Where's your kid? How much did that babysitter cost?"
No, I've definitely been in this conversation. Not the kind of like, you got to be careful because like people assume what you make for a living and see things like like your nails done. And then like maybe to a client, you're like, oh my God, the price of childcare, or like, how am I supposed to XYZ? And like, I have tattoos. Like, I know I can see people doing math where it's like, okay, so like, I feel really uncomfortable now because like, it's easier to just not talk about.
Right.
Right.
And right, because I'm a poor broke bitch. Like I am
Like,
broke.
I think we all are here and like mostly everywhere. Like right now, it's just kind of bleak.
But like I can still turn up in Nashville with a themed outfit for every fucking day.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
people are
we're resourceful and
yeah.
like,
People are like, Natalie struggling win. And I'm like, all
right.
the
But also,
time.
that's our job is to like hide the reality if it's
Yeah.
a darker thing. So like, we're very good at that, at going out into society and
Because
shining.
we've been conditioned to do it with a broken
Of
heart
course,
With a
and
broken
right?
just
heart.
Yeah.
keep, you
Keep
just keep
smiling.
going, fake it till
Keep-
you make it,
Well,
you
and
know.
a big theme of this past year for me is for me to call my mother scream crying, because a woman in my life has made me feel like I either think that I'm better than myself than I am, or that like I'm doing better than them somehow. And I'm literally just like cry screaming to my mom, like, what about my life screams that I'm winning? I don't have plentiful, stable employment. It's me and this cat at my house. Like, no one wants to go out anymore. We
It's
all can't.
because you're not crying in the street. It's because you're not literally like begging for assistance or pity or help from.
I'm dancing.
Exactly.
With my
Like,
feathers and my
the
top
world
hat.
is on fire. And like, I feel like most women have adopted this attitude of like, what the fuck can you do? What, are we not going to talk to each other? What, are we not going to like post memes? We're not going to get our fucking nails polished?
Yeah.
What, do we give the fuck up completely?
Hey, just in case no one's you're listening at home and you're not paying for the Patreon, the entire theme of the Patreon is, and I'm miserable and no one even knows. Try to come for my job.
Heidi and I like chanted in the car. That's like always the one she wants to listen to on the way to school. And she's like, because I miss it. Like, she's so good. It's so good. Like, I'm like, yes. Like, it's so
And
good.
no one even knows. And it like the try to come for my job, because you can't. I'm out dancing. I'm out hustling. No,
Mhm.
no one
But the
wants to be
fucking
Katie
balls
Maloney.
to like put that in a song,
Ugh.
like literally not even. It's not metaphorical. It's not dressed up in any kind of like nothing. Like, there's no allegory. It's like, fuck you, because I'm still doing it. You still want more. Then I get criticized for doing more. So that's a whole nother topic. But like, watch how well I do it.
It's that line, I'm so depressed I act like it's my birthday every day. And it's like, that's because Natalie's never been it's like she wrote the song based on my own life. I'm like, I'm not allowed to have
That's
a
Taylor
birthday.
Swift. Like, it's amazing. That universal, like, yes.
Yeah. My birthday's on Christmas. I've never had a birthday a day in my life. I have to pretend like Wednesday's my birthday. I have to get myself a little treat so I don't launch myself into the sea.
Well, I love that line too, though, because it's like, I feel like it's very meta and almost like very layered, because like, okay, so it's like, I'm so depressed I act like it's my birthday every day. Like, it's performative on your birthday. So often birthdays are fraught with like, have you lost a parent? Have you, like, are there things people are missing in your life because of loss or grief? Like, are you grieving something? Like, so a birthday, these like markers or holidays could be obviously like really difficult. So almost I read that like immediately, that line is like, I'm so depressed that I'm not even like showing up like half trying on a Wednesday. I act like it's my birthday and like someone's throwing me a surprise party, or like people are showing up and I'm expected to perform in this way that everyone can access, because even when you're like 25 and you're having a fucking shit time because your boyfriend is an asshole, it's your fucking birthday and you got to go to this place and everyone's there and oh my god, like that just like hit me so hard, where it's like, oh my god, it's so, yes, everything is so performative.
Because girlhood is bursting into tears the moment that you're alone on your birthday before you even know why you're crying.
Isn't it though?
Like Stephanie and because my birthday is on Christmas, so Stephanie and I will text. Like this year, I had to give like bad news on Christmas because I myself received bad news about my mother's health. So this is how I chose to do that with my very best friend. Hey, have the Christmas sads kicked in, and are we crying yet? Or are we still pretending to have Christmas joy for your kids? And then she went, I didn't even bother to pretend to have Christmas joy for my kids this year. Hit me with whatever you have to tell me.
That's exactly what Taylor Swift is saying. Is like she's still giving that level of like she is pretending because it's for us. It's for us.
You're right, because some people really do have a Merry Christmas every year, and I don't want to
And
be the person.
we all act like that. We know
Yeah.
that because of TV movies and like those freaks that we know that we see actually enjoy it. And like that's not to say there are not moments you can be president that like are good memories or like that
Right.
you do enjoy. And kids bring a new sort of thing to it, but it does not erase
It does
the
not.
melancholy and straight up like depression that like important events can bring or trigger.
There's nothing that I hate more about the performative nature of a birthday than watching a kid open presents in front of a group of 15 adults. And like,
Yeah.
they just want to play with that first fucking Barbie that they opened, but you're shoving
Listen, the
ribbons
purity
at
of
them.
childhood, and you have to chastise it. I remember like the minute my daughter, I think it was her 3rd birthday, that she really was like, time for present. Like I had to, because you have to like be like, shh, we'll do presents when I'll say. Like I know that's why you're excited. I know that's why we're here. But then she'd open something and be like, I don't care who it's from. And I'm like, that's from Mimi. And she's like, whatever. And then like sees it and is like, I already have this, and throws it away. I'm like, you'll never experience this again. Enjoy it. You're 2, you're 3. This is it. It's over. After this, you're going to have to smile and go give them a hug and be like, I don't have 4 of these. And that's the rest of your life.
I love this.
I used to have to choke down angel food cake for my birthday every year because I don't like angel food cake, but someone in my family did like angel food cake and made it for my birthday every year, because surely I wouldn't have my own tastes and desires.
Just these things that just like accidentally happen, and then it's like, you love pigs, and you get like 85 figurines. You're like, I don't, what? No, I don't.
I don't. I do. I do love pigs.
I mean, I
but-
do.
I do too.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, what's your skip?
Okay, so it was the manuscript.
Oh, I love the manuscript because I write a manuscript every day.
It was, and then it wasn't. Like, it was like, well, you know, like you go through the phases of listening to the album with as many tracks as there are, where it's like, I listened to all of it. Eventually, it was over a few days, and then like was like, okay, immediately returning to like the first 5, and then like would be like, okay, go to these like other ones. I'd always like end up coming back around to the like B-sides in my mind. But the manuscript I skipped, like for the first like probably 20 listens. I would skip it at the line, about halfway into the first verse, like, oh, it's so like, it was very awkward to me at first. The one about like the license and the organ donor and the heart and the, like, I was just like, what is that? Is this like performance art? I don't know what's happening, but like next, because I want to go back to like the black dog or whatever. And then I finally, like one day was like doing housework, something, and like it was playing and I didn't have my phone back. And I was like, fine, whatever. And it kept going and I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, that totally like hits. And like it's still one, I think, because it is very like on the nose about like something we've all felt about dead relationships, that like that's not an easy listen for me. So I still do kind of like, I come to it, you know, when I'm like in a very like introspective mood and want to be very honest about things.
It's like she was like, hey, do you guys remember when you thought I was so sad during the 10-minute All Too Well version?
Mm-hmm.
May I introduce you to the manuscript?
Yes, yeah. Super
Right.
seriously though. It is the kind of grown up version and sentiment of that. Like,
well, do you guys go back and reread your journals?
yes.
Oh, every time I sit down to write in my journal, I flip to a random page and reread something in my journal.
I move a lot. Every time I've moved, I like will grab random ones out of the boxes and just do the same one. I just flip to a page and I'm like, God damn.
God damn. And I think it's so important. And this was a lot of All Too Well for me too, where she's like, hey, there was good. and there was bad. And sometimes you're just going to get caught up in that. I had someone who was in the midst of their second marriage and their first partner had died, and they were telling me like, it feels so bad to be grieving the good parts when there were so many bad parts, and now I'm in a good spot. And I'm like, but there were good parts, and maybe you should listen to the 10-minute version of All Too Well. Like, I'm always like, maybe, do you have 10 minutes?
One that does that to me that I like this album came out right after my second divorce and ended up being like super important to me because of that sort of time in my life. But
Are you referring to Red?
oh no, sorry. I'm talking about Folklore. Is that Last Great American Dynasty? And
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Folklore, man, that
dude,
album
okay,
is
so My Tears Ricochet, that was that one, right? Okay. That song was the one that I was like, fuck. Like, that is exactly how I feel. And I used to get so fucking angry. Like, the part where she was like crossing out the good years. Because, like, you want so badly when you're like burning something down in your mind because you know it's not right for you to reject every fucking good memory. It feels not real. It feels like you were gaslighting yourself. It feels like something you bought into that was a fucking lie. But you know what? And my therapist has said this a million times. Even if an entire relationship was a lie because they were a lie, you experienced that. Those moments of happiness, even if it was a figment of your imagination, that is a real feeling. And to pretend it didn't exist you cannot process what happened to you. You cannot just
it's
be
really
angry.
like a mind fuck.
Yeah.
It is the most intense mind fuck. But like for her to just so like she's like laying things out so just like what oh okay like but it's so pretty and it's so like oh and she just slips that line in kind of at the end where I'm like oh there weren't good years. What are you talking about? We're mad. We're very mad and our tears ricochet and like what the fuck are you? She'll do that where she touches on this like it is very nuanced and you need to have grace for yourself and like they experience good times too, even if they are a lie, even if the whole thing was fucking fake. Every moment they were comfortable or happy in front of you was not a lie. It was not because of you. It may have just been a nice day outside or other things happened in their life, but y'all experienced joy parallel to one another. And to like try to be like, it was all poison because it was to you for real is to discount like you can't make yourself crazy by feeling like you did make it all up. Like the like were you sent by someone? No, they weren't. This was just a shitty person.
Well, number one, now I kind of want to on the Patreon I wish I had my sad poem journal, but I think I want to like do a whole solo episode where I read the poem and then be like, this is why. This is why.
Girl,
this
you should
poem
have a panel with your favorite guest co-host, like
Yeah.
where we all bring like something we wrote in middle school.
Yes.
Some type of like it could be a journal entry or like a poem. I have so many that would be fun.
So many, but to me, it's always like I love my tears ricochet because to me, like she's flipping it and she's like, "What are you doing here, motherfucker, to mourn me after you treated me?" Like I almost went to Eras to our drag brunch, but I ended up not feeling well, so I just wore my Eras t-shirt. But I almost went in my that year for Halloween when I went as a Black Widow, a woman who kills her husbands and is just in permanent funeral garb. So I almost got out all of my like sexy funeral garb out, and I was just going to be the random mourner who's watching like the toxic boyfriend mourn his wife at my tears ricochet. Like I'd be like whispering to people like, why is he here? Like who even called him? But the manuscript, man, because again, like I'm kind of going through that right now, just knowing that like I'm going to have to make a big change in location soon. So I'm like, why do I need to leave the house? I no longer have to invest into this. Mm-hmm. And grief is a bitch, man. I love that on the manuscript though, because I am a ruminator and I will just like read my old journals and be like, I remember when I felt like that. Let's do it all again, baby. Like it's a drag on a cigarette.
But you do sort of exactly. I was about to say it's like you don't smoke any. I don't know this life because I still very much smoke. But like, it's like I have quit before, and it's like truly when you find an old pack of cigarettes and you're like, for old time's sake, even though it hurts so good. Like, it's almost this like reminder. It's like you're pricking your finger to see if you still bleed. Like, you are still human.
I don't know if this is like if what this says about me. I did talk about it in therapy before, but like I would destroy everything that I wrote. And I don't have anything. Like I have stuff now, now I wouldn't. But maybe burn something. I would do that, a whole like some type of seance with that would be wonderful. But I hate that I don't have it was like some type of like sense of like
Your
embarrassment or
self-preservation
something.
too. Like, it was almost like you wanted to protect yourself from like the memory of
Nobody
it.
can read this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Secretly, do you know why I never destroy anything that I write about my toxic
When you're dead, you won't be able to
past?
see how tortured you were.
Yes, I want my nephew to have to go through my stuff after I'm dead and be like, wow, Aunt Natalie was deep.
I love it.
She was so fucking talented.
Absolute same.
I want them
main
in
character syndrome since I was 5 years old.
I want them in the
for real
fucking
was like,
Smithsonian. I want them in
is
the
this
Met.
embarrassing, or is it going to prove to every fucking hater like how hard I suffered and how amazing it was that I did show up to 6th grade looking as cute as I did and like so on top of my shit, because like shit happened to me.
God damn, Aunt Natalie really went through it.
Like, people are like, girl, I'll go to your house and like get all your shit out of your closet if you die.
No,
I'm
leave
like,
it.
leave it.
Leave it. Post it online and tag those motherfuckers who are named.
That's exactly right.
You post it on. In fact, my entire eulogy will be you reading tea from my journals
100%.
and kicking people out of the funeral so you can go. You can go.
I love those like videos of that. Like for this tape, my friend's funeral. She didn't even like you, so you
She didn't
can
even like
leave.
you. She didn't even like you. I had a very meta question to ask people. Okay, so in the song The Prophecy, here's my very meta question, very deep. So when my nephew finds this on iTunes, he can be like, damn, Aunt Natalie got it. It's a woman, and she's like, please, can it once be me? And can we rewrite the prophecy? And like, because I'm Cassandra, like those songs to me are sisters. And because I'm Cassandra, I'm like, oh my God, yes, all the time. There's always some identity or some prophecy or some fate put on me that's not my choice and is not my invention. And I'm always trying to like outrun it and scream at people, this is not who I am. This isn't what I want. Can we try again, God or tarot or the devil? Like, can we try it again?
The prophecy I would change would be being generally hot to white men.
Yeah, hell yeah. I don't want white men to look at me anymore.
Well, I have blonde hair and blue eyes, and like that, it's been I used to be like, it's a blessing and a curse to be so pretty in the South. It's just a fucking curse. It kind of really is, and I hate to be like one of those like,
you're allowed to be hot.
That just happens. I can't even like, what? I'm not gonna curl my hair. I'm not gonna put a bag on my head. I'm still gonna like get my nails done, but like, for that to be the default, that like, it does not mean a person is like, I see something interesting in you to come up and be like, I would like to talk to you. It is just, do you have a wiener? Then that is going to happen. And then you get to pretend to be whatever you want to me. And depending on my mood or situationship or what's in my system, I might entertain it.
And because I was telling Darcie that like, it was really big of you to admit that you didn't you actively didn't speak to me for 4 months, where I was like, Darcie, I knew that. Like, I knew what was happening.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I knew. Because
and I knew you did.
Yeah.
Like,
right. And that's why our friendship can still sustain, because it's what ends up happening.
Do you know what it is? It is, we know those men are going to fucking destroy and leave us.
Yeah.
And as shitty as it is, we're correct in assuming that we can go through this bullshit in Delulu land, and like the real ones like you are going to be there on the other side of it.
Well, and I refuse to let you guys feel like it's your fault. Like, I'm like, it's not their fault. Like, and we're gonna get to it when we talk about the criticism of the album or whatever, but it's like, it's never our fault. Like, we didn't build this system. We didn't perpetuate it. And I was I was trying to be brave about it. And I was like, and it doesn't hurt my feelings. And then I'm like, that's a lie. I've screamed about it before and like cried and been like, and like done the whole Katie Maloney thing where I like wake up and I have no friends. And I'm like, really? Just because I was honest? Like,
Yeah.
and the thing of it is now all of the Taylor Swift songs aren't even about an ex-boyfriend to me about anymore. They're about misogyny and patriarchy and all of it. So when I'm singing them, I'm doing my own Broadway, like twisted, contorted body motions. My face doesn't even look like my face anymore because I'm so angry that we're still in the system. And even me doing all of the work that removed me from it because I love you guys, it still gets like it still hits and it still hurts. And like it's the same with my mom and my aunt and older women in my life where I'm like, it sucks so much that like I can never meet another new man again.
It's the reason that like I literally stayed up till 4 a.m. in the aftermath of some woman named Patty calling me. I mean, God bless her, I guess. Like it was like I'm putting my daughter down and I just get a freaking Facebook call and like my entire world was over. Like it was like that's it. That's how easy it is. But like y'all, like you doing this, those whistleblowers, just the people that end up like talked to her and made a human out of this person that like was the harbinger, like literally was the messenger of like everything you thought was real is not. And like it will happen in 3 seconds. Like I don't know how to sugarcoat it. Like this is what's going on. And like that happening and the people who are those truth tellers, like the actual fucking whistleblowers, not the like when it's cute or convenient or you're going to get airtime about it, but like the like it's very inconvenient and it's going to brand you as like a thing that like you're choosing to be for the greater good. Like that's like it's fucking important. And I think there's a real fucking reason that like every guy I've ever been involved with is more than happy to listen to the Zombie Girls when I'm on it, or like I'll send them like the Birds on Plug It Up, like holler to both those podcasts, like friends and awesome, like they're doing great stuff. Like every woman speaking out in a space where it's not somewhere we're necessarily welcome, like doing the good work. But like there is a reason that when I send the episodes that I'm on your show, like I don't think a man besides Eric Newell of Bloody Good Horror, because it was a dynamic in our relationship to support each other creatively. And like, I really appreciate people who show up that way. But like on the whole, men pretend I didn't send it to them and say nothing about it. Or they are like Rob, the recent ex, that I recorded an episode at our house. It was the one about raising girls in the South. And every moment of preparation for that was underscored by him in the background being like, "Wait, who's this now?" And I'm like, "You kind of met her like on way back, but like, here's what I'm doing. This is what we're talking about." And he was like, "Sweet, okay, so this is like a fuck you, white men, especially the South kind of thing." And I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah, honestly.
do you have a problem with that? Because then I have a problem with you because you all deserve this."
I do want to like talk about it as an official like point of the episode where it's like women like me and Taylor Swift hurt the feelings of men we'll never meet.
Yeah,
Like,
and thank you because like you've hurt the feeling of men that like I've known that won't even fucking engage with it. It hurts their feelings that this even exists.
exactly. I think that's why. I mean, if only I could be ridiculed in the press like Taylor Swift, because then I knew I was like hurting their feelings on a mass scale, like on an earth shattering level. But like, yeah, we hurt the feelings of men who will never meet
That
because
doesn't mean that your feelings don't get hurt in the process of the mission.
yeah, and I think that's like something new that I've been processing. Like there is a cost to me doing what's best for me by not allowing men in my home.
But not just what's best for you, because you have a microphone in front of your face right now. Anybody can cut off men. Like, you're the rallying cry of like why you should.
Yeah.
Dude, Natalie, I just want to say,
Oh God.
no, it's good. Like, I just want to like thank you because you said to me when I told you guys that I was scared about this album, like 18 years, like doesn't have to be the rest of your life. I'm like, I'm gonna start to cry.
I know I'm gonna
But
cry.
like,
Yeah, for real.
I like no one said that to me, and like without me saying like until I said that I wanted to leave, you know what I mean? And like, I'm really glad you said that,
Right. Well,
So
because like I was telling Darcie, I was like, the reason why it hurts my feelings the most is because I don't want to go to your guys' funerals. And like I know that men kill. Like, and that's what it always boils down in my mind to. That I'm like, weaker women who didn't speak up got killed over shit like this. And like you guys will slip up and say something or be listening to my show on the wrong day or repeat something that I said or whatever. And like at the end of the day, I'm like, it's unsafe for us to be this ingrained in the lives of men.
But do you know what is safe and what is the total safe space? Is this happening right now? Like, and I think it's worth any listeners knowing that like because of things like this podcast, like we talk every day, the three of us. And like, honest to God, like there have been more than a few times that like that thread is the first time I verbalize a thing that like I definitely know is true, but that like, I don't know, like I need some type of emotional encouragement, I guess, to like really act on in my real life.
Well, and I'm also coming to terms with the fact that like breakups with men never affected me very hard. Like they would just leave and I'd be like, fine. And that was probably the strongest indicator that I was queer because I let them fuck me when I wanted them to fuck when they wanted to fuck me. And then when they were done fucking me, I was like, fine, okay, I guess this is over. And I'd have like little to no feelings about it. And so like I realized that I have very little skin in the game compared to a woman who's in a marriage or a woman who co-signed on something with a man and tied her money to it. Like there's a safety to my life because I never put my name on paper with a man. And so, yeah, I can sit on my high horse all day long and be like, I can't believe that you guys still have husbands. But I also know all
But
of the
also it's unfair as one of like your closest friend. I mean, if it's mutual, like you're one of my closest friends, like it's unfair to not give you the chance to have grace for it not being your fault. And I think that speaks to the absolute, like, how deep just the shame that they instill in you
yeah.
from
Well,
go is. Like, I knew how, like, internally, I knew how fucked the whole situation was, but I didn't know how to, like, undo that conditioning. And I knew that, like, sharing that with somebody who there are no smoke and mirrors, like, it's a shattering of an illusion, but it also is very unfair to not trust you, especially you, to understand that it is that and not treat that kindly and with grace too. Like, so I think that like a big part of your show that we don't necessarily underline often is like that. It's like showing truly behind the scenes, like what those relationships look like, where it's not just about holding people accountable. It's not just about like whistleblowing. It's about having empathy for the process of everyone getting to the point where we're all fucking like actually fucking done with it. Because that is not something that happens overnight. It's not like an A to Z. Like you have to go through every letter of the alphabet and like it's hard as fuck. But it's people like you that stand by every phase of that and like show what it looks like to be on the other side of it. That like it's like motivational in a way that like I don't know you'll ever understand as someone who's already where you are.
okay, well, that's really fucking sweet. It's mostly because guys didn't want to fuck me for very long. Like I've had it very easy. They
Well,
don't
God
actually want to be
bless them for
around.
that. Honestly, they knew they
Um,
couldn't fucking handle it, and we benefit from that. So,
but no, it's like, and that's what it always boils down to. Like if I could be the one person just screaming at you all day, he sucks until you hate me, but it also means that you get to live to 75 unless the water wars come. Like,
Yeah.
then you get to live till 75 and hopefully I'm there too. But yeah, I think it's been a really big shift for me, like understanding that like the reason why I'm so lonely, the reason why Katie Maloney is so lonely is because we won't endure anymore. And the I shouldn't just say that Katie Maloney's lonely. I don't know her actual fucking life, but to me, it felt like a very lonely season for her. I saw so much of myself in her this season. But yeah, the reason why we burned women and called them witches is because they knew that if we stood in groups of 3 and got to talking, they wouldn't be able to beat us anymore.
But then I think because of the nature of what it was to be a woman, it was scary to even consider that, because then what? We've been taught nothing. What would we do then? What happens the day after the final girl survives and her whole fucking world is gone?
Where it's like misogyny is bad for female friendships
100%.
on purpose.
Yep.
On purpose.
Handmaid's Tale style. It's not good to let us gather and discuss.
They do not want us to be friends. It's why they demonized gossip and demonized anything that women would enjoy doing together in a large group. Like,
and gossip is just telling the truth. I'm sorry. Like, I've realized this recently. It's just adults in a group being like, this happened.
This happened.
But women saying the truth it's a game. It's just like stupid. It's gossip. Like these words that get assigned to it, where it's like, what are men in a corner talking about? Joe got fired and like Maddie's an asshole and a racist. What's that called? I think
Gossip.
they're just telling the truth.
But yeah, it's this whole idea of like I don't want it to be my fault that misogyny made it really hard for me to have friends. Like, I don't want to just get tired and be like, well, fuck it. You all suck and you're stupid. And I don't want to be God telling Moses he can't go to the promised land because he hit a rock one time. That Old Testament God and I, not friends.
I mean, I don't think he has any friends.
Right, honestly. That's not who I want to be, because then everyone thought that like men were winning when I was like, I'm not fucking men anymore. I only want to date women. And they were like, isn't that letting the bad boyfriends win? I go, no, actually, not getting to fuck me means that all men lose. And but to me, the patriarchy winning is me not being understanding when you ghost me for 4 months, but it's because you're not ready to shatter
what sucks though is the flip side of that is like being a woman who does still entertain the idea of fucking men. If you dare, just wait. And if it's more than one, or if they know each other, like if anything happens where it's like you're having fun infringes on their situation or plans, you are fucked. I mean, there's no equivalent for males in the same situation. But you lose, you win, or like there's no way to win, because you either avoid men altogether and like exactly what you're talking about happens, where you could be a pariah on both sides of the gender wars, or you just are like, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and sometimes that includes fucking men, and maybe it doesn't include marrying them.
Yeah.
Then that's a whole nother fucking fight you're gonna have to engage in.
Well, and I think the prophecy that I'm always trying to outrun and be like, no, it doesn't have to, is that girlhood is suffering. Being a woman is innately suffering, and that our suffering is okay. And it's okay if we're suffering and the doctor goes, I don't know, women get crampy, or it's okay that they're mean to us, but they're not hitting us. So therefore that's something like, I think I'll know that my work is done when I don't see where I get to watch women be happy and that be the norm, instead of just like, yeah, make less money. Who cares? Yeah, he gaslit you and love bombed you. Whatever, you got free dinners out of it.
If I am told one more time, truly, by women, that everyone gets cheated on after what happened to me, I'm gonna fucking lose it. No one should get cheated on. How about that's what we say?
Yeah. That,
it's just excusing the behavior.
And women to me encompasses everything. It's trans women, it's non-binaries, it's anyone who isn't a white guy. Honestly, at this point. Like, and I know that we're on the brink of Handmaid's Tale because they're getting scared because we have TikTok. And women are now putting the nest footage of their man beating the shit out of them on TikTok. And
There's
being,
like a whole TikTok murders.
yeah,
That shit's wild.
that's just wild. Well, what's wild is when when you call or a neighbor calls a domestic dispute on your house and the nest is recording the cops berating the woman. Meanwhile, homie's just still punching walls or locked in the bathroom or something. Mm-hmm. And she's like, yeah, he was literally choking me against the wall. And they're like, they heard you screaming though? I think you were loud.
Right? It's like you need the evidence for them to believe you.
But even
like
then,
video evidence.
But then when you present the nest as evidence, they're like,
is that really what happened before you hit record?
Yeah. But yeah, that's literally the prophecy that I'm outrunning is that like, oh, to be a woman is to be in pain. Is that stupid biblical Eve ate an apple shit. A bitch took a bite out of one Macintosh apple and I gotta have period cramps every month. That doesn't make sense. I don't like it. I don't believe it. I would like to change the prophecy. And
I would like to change that prophecy.
I would like to change that prophecy. I would like for every woman.
And it was written.
And it was written. And as above, so below. The power of 3 will set us free.
Under his eye. No.
But yeah, like that. I wish that more women were taught like I was just a weirdo kid who liked Greek mythology and stumbled upon the myth of Cassandra. I think every woman should be taught.
What's funny is like the islands we lived on were not so far from one another because like I watched horror movies obsessively from the time I was a child, and like it's very similar where like anytime like a man seems sketch or we were in a situation where it was like I don't know, this seems like not safe or weird, like in my mind, main character syndrome again, I was the final girl, and like yeah, people don't want to hear like this might not be right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the entire horror genre is built on a woman
it's
being
mythology.
Like,
it's like Greek mythology. Like it truly is like strip it all down. It's very like the morality tales of like free Shakespeare.
Yeah. It's a woman being like, I don't think we should go in that barn. And then some guy being like, I don't want to be in the rain. And then they get murdered in that barn.
Until they started like inverting tropes. Yeah, that truly is like there's a reason. There's a flood story in every culture. There's a reason so many movies. It's like the woman being like, I think this is weird. And literally everyone, no, it's fine because we need to keep the parade on because we're going to make money. Or whatever. Jaws, like the 4th of July is too important. It's always like comes down to like patriarchal corporate bullshit.
Darcie, what was the prophecy that I changed mine because of what you all said? And
what
I was like,
no,
my old prophecy was that like since I could speak, the label that has been put on me is that I am dramatic and I am selfish and I only use my talents to get my way. And when I don't get my way, I can't even remember the last time I threw a tantrum. And yet everyone acts like I throw a diva opera level tantrum every time I'm near them. But like that happened from when I was very small. Anytime I had a feeling, why are you trying to ruin today? Again, I had to do it with a broken heart or else I was like not going to be able to eat that day. Well, no one wants to go to lunch with someone who's pouting.
And girls like me, I think very early I was like, I have a feeling I'm going to be very mentally ill and I don't have the bandwidth to like keep speaking out. But every best friend I ever had was you. I always gravitated to these like truth telling 6th graders that like I would cower behind, like truly would just be like, I'm going to ride the coattails of your emotional maturity. I don't know what to do, but like you're telling men off and you're 7. So like, yes.
Best friend. I was not telling men off when I was 7. I was laying in bed screaming that song, nobody likes me, everybody hates me. I guess I'll go eat worms.
Eat worms.
Yeah. At any inconvenience.
Well, I wasn't screaming anything, so like I was like mystified.
No,
Fascinated.
I didn't start sticking up to men until I hit like probably 30. This is a very when did I start this
Truly,
podcast?
the fact that you were a loud child speaks otherwise.
Darcie, what's the prophecy that you're trying to run from?
My prophecy that I'm trying to run from, I feel like very literally lived that song, and kind of I left a situation that I was in for a very long time. And because I was actually, I'm going to quote um, Maxine from the X trilogy that I will not.
I'm hoping I'm
So
seeing
good.
it
I loved
Tuesday.
it.
Oh, I can't
I
wait.
loved it. I loved it so much. But I will not accept a life I don't deserve. And I honestly like left the movie thinking I'm gonna get that tattooed on me because I feel like that's like the only other words I have are live deliciously from The Witch. And yeah. And I was like, I feel like I need that because I feel like I've grown a lot in my decentering men and misogyny for my life. And like, um, I, I just want, I've come to terms with what I deserve and what I don't deserve. And I also need to find like like fulfilling within myself without like I feel like I've always depended on another on like my partner, another person to make me happy or that I like was dependent on their happiness. Like it's that codependency. Like I really don't want to ever be in a situation like that, but also like acknowledging that that comes from abandonment and like always being let down. Honestly, like always being let down by men. I've been let down by every man that's in my life pretty much. And like I'm at a point now that if one of my friends brought up her boyfriend that I'm not, a fan of and bringing him back into my life and I said I'm not honestly I have too much going on to bring like anybody new into my life, but especially a man. um, I'm not comfortable. I don't trust them. I don't want any men that I don't already know. I mean, obviously, like I've hung out with, I'm a big wrestling fan, so like watch wrestling with dudes and like that, like the people I know and that I can enjoy time with without like remembering that they're men. Or I mean, actually, probably you do experience that too with wrestling, but it's not the same shit. But, um, yeah, I think I'm like ready to leave that in my past. I full on I came out as bi a few years ago and I don't know that that's even really going to be the case in the long term. I mean, I don't really know. Once I start dating, I'm sure maybe things will change, but yeah, I just don't like them. They can just go away and leave me alone. That's my prophecy. Men, leave me alone.
You are more than welcome to come and Grey Gardens it up with Annie and I when we finally take it to the woods. We just
Yes.
take to the woods and no one
I'm
hears from
done.
us ever again.
Right? I'm out. I'm
Like,
done.
I love it.
I will say, really, my cousin did say to me before, and it kind of makes me feel like I'm at least on some type of track with Natalie on the same track. Because just like a couple months ago, it was actually before Tortured Poets. So, and my cousin had said that some guy was just so nasty to me at like the grocery store or something. And she goes, and I immediately thought to myself, this is why Darcie hates men. And I was like, and I said to her, I was like, yeah, yeah. I mean, it is. It's the gym is a place to really hate men, the gym. And that's where I was spending like a lot of my coping time. I just pretend like they're not there. And I just literally look like like I look like I'm disgusted by them. So I don't get hit on often. That's been a thing with me is I've always given the energy of like I'm not interested in you, like you're gross. So I haven't really been hit on much in my life, which I'm okay with, honestly now. I used to be self-conscious about it, but now I'm like,
No,
good,
I'm
I'm
the
glad I gave
opposite. I
up that
definitely am
energy.
like the like I don't want to be rude. I'm just gonna like And like lately I haven't, and it's very funny.
It feels good, right?
One of the other prophecies I would like to outrun, and this will get us into the criticism of the album, is whenever Taylor Swift or myself or any of us have a slew of bad boyfriends, it's not the prophecy of why are you such a dumb slut that keeps getting had by men? And why isn't it instead, why are there so many bad men that you've only dated bad ones? You have yet to trip onto a good one. You have yet to meet one good man.
Right. Is it our picker or is it
the numbers?
It's at the pool.
Is it the ratio? The rate? Because right now I'm sitting on one couple that makes me believe in heterosexual love.
Yeah,
and they know.
Right.
Like they know who they. Because I've screamed it at them while we're dancing somewhere. I'm like, you're the only straight couple I believe should exist. It's just you. But yeah, like this whole idea that when Taylor Swift is writing an album and she mentions these things that happen to her, and it is heartache and heartbreak and not getting what I was supposed to be getting and what I was promised and all of it, that we think that that's stupid fluff and not like meaningful life events. Like, when did we decide that like heartache had a quota? Like, I'm supposed to get past 22 years old and heartache should just be done. I'll never be broken up with again. I'll like 5 boyfriends in, I should be smarter, and finally the 6th one works and no one hurts me ever again. And I think like it's really easy to call Taylor, like the Tortured Poets Department, like the most massive breakup album that ever existed. But I really do think that like, to me, when I listen to it, Taylor is also not even pissed at Jake Gyllenhaal anymore. She's pissed that so many Jake Gyllenhaals exist. Like, she's pissed at us for gossiping about her instead of going like, girl, you good? Like, girl, don't. Like, girl. Like,
well, that's what I mean, that like each new one that comes, you're a representative of them all.
Yeah.
You're just the next one.
Version.
That's like, yeah. Well, I love those memes that are like, oh my God, are you crying over some mid-ugly piece of shit that like didn't even treat you well? Don't worry. Another one that's a little bit different is right behind it.
It's going to trick you.
Also, it's really male-centric and misogynistic-centric to believe that I Can Do It With a Broken Heart is only about her doing her job while she's sad because Joe Alwyn was boring for one more dinner.
Right.
Because, like, I get heartbroken if they get my soda raw at McDonald's. And honestly, that's hurt me more than any other man. Like, when I just want a really crisp McDonald's soda and I take a sip of it and it's not real,
worse.
It's not regular Coke, it's Diet Coke. I'm switching into the lane of traffic where a semi is going to hit me. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. Have I ever felt that way because a man was like, I don't want to go anywhere? No. But like, literally, like, sometimes heartache is your mom saying the one weird thing that when she says it, it hurts your feelings, but you don't know how to express to her that it hurts your feelings. Sometimes, like, heartache is putting your entire soul into an album just to be told, she's sad about her boyfriends one more time. And sometimes the heartache is being like, but I was promised this. And sometimes that promise, like, currently my heartache is I technically did everything right that millennials were supposed to do, and my life is still fucking broke. Like,
Same.
I went to college. I got a job. I did everything but marry some useless
I got
man.
married.
You got
had a kid.
twice.
Where the fuck am I right now?
Yeah,
same. Joke.
Yeah. So sometimes it's like, well, the government lied to me, and now I have to do all of this with a broken heart, knowing that they're not even going to give us stimulus checks to get through the next disaster. Like,
yeah, I mean, you get a broken heart every time you hear another fucking bill passed, or anything in
any soundbite from any politician.
Yes,
it's terrible. There's not much to be happy about. I don't mean to be dramatic.
No, that's so true
out there.
It's so true. I need to do a deeper dive onto the song Clarabow, but I think that like her ending the song with like "You look like Taylor Swift" is her like acknowledging that this is all cyclical and we're all going through it. So we have to start talking about it. Like there ain't nothing that Taylor Swift went through that Stevie Nicks didn't go through 3 times. Like the
I
fact,
love Clarabow.
the fact that in my copy of the Tortured Poets Department, I can open it up and read the breakup poem that Stevie Nicks wrote her about one Ratty Healy. I go, could you imagine fucking a guy for 2 weeks and it ruining your entire life, and you just call up Stevie Nicks to be like, Stevie, I'm sad.
Right.
And she writes you a poem. Like,
It's very incredible.
Insane.
I know. It's like how Miley Cyrus gets to have Dolly Parton as a godmother. And I was like, my whole life would be different. My whole life would be different if Dolly Parton had a hand in it.
Right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
I've seen Stevie Nicks exactly once in concert, and it was within the last 2 years. And it truly was healing, and it was religious. And she did go, I need you to watch 60 Minutes so you understand more about the Ukraine. And I almost did it, but I don't know how to stream 60 Minutes. So sorry about it, Stevie Nicks. Like I couldn't figure out which streaming service 60 Minutes was on. And I have ADHD. But like, but even that like Clara Bow song is like, she was the hottest Hollywood actress in the world and they still dogged her. Stevie Nicks was the hottest musician in the entire world and she still fucking got cheated on and dumped by Fleetwood Mac and had to make her own fucking career out of it anyways. I'm motherfucking Taylor Swift and they print some bullshit article every week that I'm fighting with Billie Eilish.
So, somebody said, which I don't know, I can't remember if like I read it or some friend said it, but the theory that that last line, "You look like Taylor Swift," is actually about Olivia Rodrigo.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it totally makes
like,
sense.
I
And
haven't
it
even
fits,
seen that,
like,
but like I always read it as like it's like the next one, the younger
Yeah.
one. It's very much
It's
like
Sabrina.
like
It's
you
Olivia.
had edge, she
what is
never
the sisters
did.
that she
And I
has
feel like
the
that's so...
other song that's like with Phoebe Bridgers. Phoebe Bridgers.
Phoebe Bridgers.
Oh, Nothing New.
Yeah. Where that's like obviously a thing that's on her mind about like this is temporary and like I'm gonna do it as hard as I can because like somebody will be telling somebody very soon you look like Taylor Swift. Like she looked like Stevie Nicks and
okay, let's wrap it up. We're gonna wrap it up. We're actually gonna be adults. Elizabeth is actively peeing herself and starving to death.
I didn't eat very much today, and I will be honest, like yeah, I hate it too. Like I'm like
she's trying to send me SOSs in the chat that I just keep ignoring. I'm like, why is that making a notification?
No, it's the worst.
I was gonna
like,
say something if this one went a while. So
I mean, honestly, like
no, like I'm in the
midnight.
time zone though. That's like you guys. We have to do it super late because I have to put my daughter down, and then I'm like I have to eat Taco Bell. I gotta go.
Yeah. Okay. So we have talked ad nauseum about Tortured Poets Department and all of the feelings that it brought up and how we wish better for ourselves and Taylor Swift
And our daughters.
And our daughters and our mothers and all of it. Yeah. If you had to wrap up the biggest lesson that Tortured Poets Department handed you, what was the best thing it taught you?
Okay, so I think it's that it's not your fault it hurt so hard, even if it wasn't real. And it's also okay to revisit the feelings of anger and sadness in a almost like way to remember you're still human before it happens again.
I love that. Darcie, what's yours?
So I would say, I know there's a lot to unpack there, but I would say probably my biggest lesson, like the biggest thing that I took from the Tortured Poets Department was like stepping back and acknowledging and recognizing things for what they are and feeling that. And sometimes that's not pleasant or it's tough, but also that you can do it with a broken heart and we can like, you know what I mean, that I feel like I I can feel all this stuff and I can still be me and keep growing and
Well,
moving on.
the fact that this happens to us does not define us, and the fact that it might hopefully not happen again doesn't destroy us either.
Because I think I'm actually really surprised. It always surprises me what actually happens when I get on the mic, despite what I thought I would say when I got on the mic. I don't think it hit me until right now, as we were talking about it, that the whole album isn't a breakup album. It's a liberation album of liberating yourself from the guilt that comes from being had.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the perfect way to put it.
Ooh, it is, because that shame is so heavy.
The shame is so heavy. And so I think like I will listen to this album when I need to remember, just like I listen to All Too Well when I need to remember like gaslighting is real. They'll tell you fucking whatever. Like you were there, your memories are true. I will listen to this album every time I need to remember it is not actually my fault that they treated me that way. It's not a prophecy that's been put on my head. It's not something I'm asking for. It's not some.
No, because it's not vague. It's specific. It's targeted. It is designed to make you forget what you even want or believe.
Right. So tell me everything is not about me, but what if it is?
Exactly.
And say they didn't do it to hurt me, but what if they did? Because I've had that conversation with my therapist years ago when she's like, you're talking about it like he had this like plot and scheme and plan. And so many people will tell you,
didn't he?
But didn't he? Yeah. Because so many people are still stuck in this mindset that like, oh, men are too stupid to be conniving.
Too stupid to do it. They're too stupid to manipulate you. No,
they don't have
the same way
energy.
where they want you to say it. You know, that
they wait for you to say it
gonna...
so that.
Yeah, they weaponize incompetence their way into gaslighting. Fuckers. So yeah, it's not actually my fault. Taylor Swift said so, and Stevie Nicks co-signed it.
That's right. That's all we need.
That's all I need.
It's the president and vice president of female everything. Female rage, yeah.
Do you think Dolly Parton ever let that silent man that's her husband tell her she was wrong a day in her life? That man's never spoken.
We have lots of examples, and we need to
so many
pay more attention. Yeah.
What kind of energy are we adding back into the collective energy with our manifestations?
Okay, I'm going to manifest that any woman who ever sits down to a date, any date, where the man says, "Where did you come from?" Or, "I could see myself, XYZ, anything with you. Just go away. Don't do it.
Just storm away."
Don't do it. Those are pretend statements that no one ever has to cash a check in for. Like when it's projection, when it's the future, that is not a real thing. And that person gets to pretend they are whoever they want to be, whoever you want them to be in this like non-existent future. So those are red flag statements for me. And I urge any woman going on dates, if somebody is like, "Where did you come from?" I don't like that. Like, I came from 2 blocks away in the city that you grew up in because I'm a full fucking human. And like, I feel like you're bringing some weird energy that's supposed to woo me and probably will work. So please stop.
Well, because what Love Island USA has taught me is that men have to view you as people to feel bad when they hurt you. So if they only view you as a figment or as an idea or as like a myth and
that's character, how that starts though. That like, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't come from Greek mythology. I came from my mama and like Midtown Memphis. So.
I'm not just like an idea of a future for you. Like I am actually a person whose heart beats. And very often they don't actually like watch Love Island. Not one of those boys ever looks at one of those girls and is like, "That's a human. A human I should care about kissing another girl in front of." Darcie, what's your manifestation?
So my manifestation is that all women will recognize their worth and hold on to that and know that that they deserve the world. We deserve the fucking world, and men can't give it to us.
Yeah, that's
I'm just adding that in to be.
That's I think a key phrase in that statement.
Yeah. You know. So that's where I'm at.
We deserve it. We also birthed it. Like, we birthed the entire world. They used to let us be in charge of village life and religious ceremonies and all of it until white dudes got fragile. And we're like,
worse.
why are you letting these women just like crush up berries and call that a ceremony? Have you ever heard of like incense? Like, we don't even let men touch women for our God because women be icky. Anyways, my manifestation is that for all of the Cassandras to start to be believed, and when whistles are blown, they are listened to, and that every time a woman takes the very essence of who she is and her experiences and the hurt and the joy or the pain and the agony that it caused, that instead of going, I can't believe she let that happen to her, we start asking, why does Jake Gyllenhaal have the gall to do that to Taylor Swift? Mm-hmm. How did Joe Alwyn walk the earth embarrassed to be fucking Taylor Swift a day in his life? Do you know how Travis Kelce finally got me on his goddamn side? He's the only man I've ever watched date her who realizes that it's fucking cool to be fucking Taylor Swift.
I'm changing my manifestation, and it is that all the Cassandras, even if they are never believed, don't stop telling the truth.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's that one too.
Truly, because like we're two living proof ladies sitting right here that like it still matters.
Right, because I'll believe you. So just scream it in my DMs in all caps, I guess. Thank you for being here for our 2 to 3 part series on the Tortured Poets Department. We'll be back here for debut Taylor's version.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for having us. This was so fun.
We'll do an entire episode on all of the bonus tracks once all of the bonus tracks
well, then you're never getting rid of us if we're just going
to just keep coming back.
Schedule.
God.
We've got about like 475 more songs to come.
Oh my God. I know. In another life, I did a movie podcast, but in another life, I did a Taylor Swift podcast.
Oh man. Say the word. That is my life's calling.
Does anyone have anything to plug?
I'm not very active right now on pluggable activities, so
yeah, I don't have
meet me back here whenever Natalie's like, "Hey, bitch, come on."
Right, you can send all of your compliments for Darcie and Elizabeth in the comment section, so the algorithm will stop ignoring me. How about that? But also in my DMs, and I will screenshot them and pass them along. And those DMs can be found at Men I've Tolerated Pod on Instagram, Natalie K124 on Instagram and TikTok. Follow us on YouTube. That's where all of the men whose feelings I've hurt have yelled at me. So if you want to yell at them, I'll laugh. That'd be fun for me. And make sure to check out the Patreon because this episode was edited, but I bet you the one on Patreon is just the fucking entire mother load where you get to hear all of it, including probably just what Darcie and I talked about while Elizabeth took a pee.
Perfect.
Yeah,
it's just
I'll have to listen because I missed it.
Right. You want to hear my sad poetry? Good news. It's
well, for everyone who listens, and it's 5 minutes, I did smoke a cigarette.
Oh,
I had a feeling. I was like,
feeling
she had to go smoke too.
I did peek in on my daughter too. There were a couple.
There were
household errands.
Stops. They were moving and shaking.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, tolerators, you don't have to smile through anything you're tolerating, including listening to 32 songs written by your favorite artist just for some dude to weigh in on your good time to be like, ugh, is she writing about her ex-boyfriend again? Smiles are for joy.